Welcome to this deep dive. We've got a stack of recent articles and notes here, all focused on Princess cruises. Our mission today, really, is to cut through the noise, pull out the most important bits of knowledge, the insights, and help you get properly well-informed on what Princess has been doing and, maybe more importantly, what they've got planned.
Yeah, and there's been a big one, hasn't there? A really exciting, maybe slightly unexpected new deployment announcement we need to unpack.
Exactly. So we'll look at the details of this major new season they've announced in a pretty incredible region. We'll also dig into the context, why this specific move is happening now.
Right, the backstory.
Yeah, and then we'll take a quick peek at some of Princess's other unique offerings coming up in 2025. It sort of gives us a sense of their overall strategy, I think.
Absolutely. It paints a bigger picture.
The goal, like always, is just to make sense of all this info and highlight what's genuinely interesting and relevant if you're curious about, well, cruising with Princess. Okay, let's dive in and unpack this stack.
You know, what immediately jumps out from all this material is how this isn't just like another itinerary added to the brochure.
Yeah.
This announcement, it really feels like a significant strategic shift.
Yeah.
They're moving a major ship to a completely new region for a dedicated season. That tells you something, about market demand, about fleet utilization.
That's exactly it. And the headline news, the big reveal from this stack of sources, is that the Majestic Princess is heading down to South America and Antarctica for a completely new season in 2026-2027.
Right. And this is the ship's debut in that region, so it marks a pretty substantial expansion for Princess Cruises down there in a part of the world that, you often associate with smaller, maybe more specialized expedition ships.
The timing is quite specific too, isn't
Yeah.
it? This new season runs November 2026 through January 2027.
Yep.
And we're looking at 5 distinct itineraries, I think, spread across 6 sailings.
That's right. And the voyage lengths, they cover a real range. You've got 15-day options all the way up to 33 days. So really, depending on how deep you want to go.
Yeah, options for different levels of commitment there. And across these sailings, the ship's going to hit 17 destinations in 10 countries. That's a lot of ground to cover.
It is. And the ship itself, the Majestic Princess, that's a key piece here. She's a royal class ship. Accommodates, between 3,560 and 3,650 guests. So a large ship.
Definitely large for Antarctica, relatively speaking.
For sure. And while she's known for luxury and comfort, the sources, they make a point of noting she's got stability features, which are pretty necessary for the kind of dynamic waters you might hit in those regions.
Good point.
It's also worth mentioning she just came out of dry dock, didn't she? April 2025. Got some new spaces, others reimagined. That definitely enhances the onboard experience, which is, pretty crucial on these longer, sometimes more intensive itineraries.
Okay, so let's talk about the real headliner for a lot of people, Antarctica. The sources frame this as a rare chance to visit. I mean, it's one of the most remote, awe-inspiring places on Earth, right? What's the experience description like?
Well, it's all about that raw beauty, the incredible wildlife encounters. The sources really paint a picture, spotting wildlife like penguins. And there's an amazing statistic in here somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Over 1 million penguins from 5 different species nest in the Falklands, which is a stop on some of these routes.
Over 1 million. Just picturing that, that's incredible.
Isn't it? And then looking for whales, porpoises, leopard seals, seabirds, all while you're sailing through these just dramatic landscapes.
Yeah, past those huge glaciers and icebergs. Must be absolutely breathtaking.
Precisely. And the specific Antarctic highlights mentioned, they include scenic cruising through really iconic areas like the Antarctic Peninsula, Gerlache Strait, Elephant Island, the South Shetland Islands.
Classic spots.
Yeah. And that 17-day itinerary, for example, it dedicates 4 full days just to scenic cruising within the Antarctic region itself.
4 days.
Yeah.
That's a good chunk of time down there. Now, here's where it gets really interesting, I thought, and kind of sets this apart. Princess is offering 2 overnight scenic experiences in the Antarctic Peninsula on some itineraries. That's pretty unusual for a ship this size, isn't it?
It really is. This isn't just like sailing past during the day. These extended overnights, they fundamentally change the experience.
How so?
Well, they allow for deeper immersion, Potentially opportunities for zodiac landings, to get closer looks at penguin colonies or seals, maybe even visiting international scientific research stations if the conditions are right. It sort of elevates the whole polar experience beyond just a quick sail by.
That does sound much more expedition-like, even on a larger ship.
Yeah.
And obviously, it's crucial to highlight Princess's commitment to environmental stewardship, visiting such a fragile place.
Absolutely vital.
The sources note their membership in IATO, the International Association of Antarctic Tour Operators, which means they're following strict sustainable travel guidelines, for low-impact tourism.
Yeah, and that's non-negotiable down there. You have to protect the very thing people are going to see.
Exactly. So, okay, moving north from the ice, the South America part of these trips offers a completely different vibe, right? A stunning contrast, that blend of natural beauty and really vibrant culture.
Mm-hmm. And the source would point out something interesting. New scenic cruising routes for Princess in this region.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, things like the Beagle Channel fjords down there on the Chile-Argentina border in Glacier Alley. That features those incredible hanging and tidewater glaciers coming off the Darwin mountain range.
Wow, that sounds like something you'd typically expect on a smaller, more specialized ship.
It does. It speaks to the careful planning of these routes, I think,
Yeah.
leveraging the ship's capabilities to get into these areas. Other classic scenic spots are included too, like the Strait of Magellan, Cape Horn, Tierra del Fuego, that real edge-of-the-world feeling.
Definitely. And the ports sound fantastic, too. You've got UNESCO World Heritage sites like Peninsula Valdez in Argentina, that vital marine reserve.
Mm-hmm. Right. And Sitio Roberto Burle Marx in Brazil, focused on landscape design. Valparaiso in Chile, that colorful port city.
Love Valparaiso.
Yeah. And beyond the natural and historical sites, the cultural experiences seem like a huge draw. The material mentions, experiencing local life, dancing the samba in Brazil, maybe trying the tango in Argentina or Uruguay.
Getting involved.
Exactly. Indulging in the famous food and wine of Chile and Argentina. And of course, iconic landmarks like Christ the Redeemer in Rio, the Recoleta Cemetery in Buenos Aires. There are key highlights on these itineraries, too.
So just to give people a better sense of what's actually on offer,
Yeah.
let's look at a couple of examples they mention. There's a 15-day Cape Horn and Glaciers of Patagonia trip
Mm-hmm.
that features that specific scenic cruising Strait of Magellan, Glacier Alley, plus an overnight in Buenos Aires, which is always good.
Yeah, an overnight there is key. Then there's the 17-day Antarctica and South America itinerary we mentioned earlier, the one with those 4 dedicated days of scenic cruising way down south.
Right. And for a longer trip, maybe starting closer to home for some North Americans, there's an 18-day Brazilian adventure. That one leaves from Fort Lauderdale,
Okay.
hits the Caribbean first, then heads down the coast of South America, and also includes an overnight in Buenos Aires.
Got it. And then for folks who really want the full immersion, the ultimate deep dive into the whole region, there are those longer 32 to 33-day options. They basically combine a lot of these highlights into one massive, comprehensive voyage.
Epic. But it's not just about the destinations, is it? The onboard experience on these longer trips, it's also designed to be really immersive.
Yeah, the sources definitely highlight the focus on enrichment. They'll have onboard destination experts, naturalists, historians, guest lecturers, people who can provide context and insights into where you're sailing.
Which adds so much value on a trip like this.
Absolutely. It makes the experience much more meaningful. And of course, dining is always a big part of the Princess experience. You'll find their signature spots like Sabatini's Italian Trattoria, The Catch by Rudy.
Oh, Rudy's is great.
And Alfredo's Pizzeria, which famously was voted best pizza at sea.
Best pizza at sea. You got to mention that. It's quite a claim.
It is.
And the medallion class service naturally is on board, enhancing everything from check-in to getting a drink delivered wherever you are. The sources specifically point out the Medallionette Max Wi-Fi, now using Starlink.
Yeah, that's a huge plus, especially when you're sailing in remote areas like Antarctica or Patagonia. Reliable connectivity is something people really, really rely on now.
Oh, for sure. For sharing those penguin photos.
Exactly. So for anyone listening who's getting interested, the sources say bookings for this 2026-27 season actually opened pretty recently, back in May 2025.
Okay, so they're live now. And if you're thinking about it, there are some early booking benefits mentioned. If you book by June 14th, 2025.
Right, pretty soon.
Yeah, there are potential credits involved. Up to $1,200 in onboard credit and up to $400 in shore excursion credit per stateroom. That's quite significant.
It really is. And those credits potentially can be combined with other limited time offers that might be running concurrently, things like instant savings, maybe fare discounts, even a free stateroom location upgrade. So booking early definitely seems to have its perks here.
Worth looking into quickly then. So if these amazing voyages sound like your kind of thing, you can book them directly via princess.com, obviously work with your travel advisor, or call their number, 1-800-PRINCESS.
Now, you might be wondering why. Why is Princess making this specific move with the Majestic Princess to this new region right now?
Yeah, good question.
And that leads us into some important context that the sources provide regarding another recent development that shift away from Galveston.
Right, because this big, exciting announcement about the 2026-2027 South America and Antarctica season for Majestic Princess. It comes as these itineraries are actually replacing previously scheduled sailings, doesn't it?
Yes, exactly. They are directly replacing Majestic Princess sailings that were originally on the books to depart from Galveston, Texas. Those were scheduled from November 2026 through March 2027. And the sources mention this impacts at least 15 specific voyages.
Wow, 15. So this really exciting debut in a new sort of exotic region is happening because of a pretty significant cancellation in what was a long-standing home port for Princess.
That's the connection. Princess's stated reason, according to the material, is that it's part of a broader global fleet deployment strategy.
The standard line, maybe?
Well, yes, but the insight here, I think, is seeing how cruise lines constantly analyze their global footprint. They're always looking to optimize their ships, deploy them where they think there's the highest demand, or maybe the best strategic fit for that particular ship's capabilities.
Okay.
So in this case, they're clearly leveraging the Majestic Princess's design, maybe those recent enhancements from dry dock, for these longer adventure-focused itineraries to really unique destinations like Antarctica, which, let's face it, likely command a premium price point.
Makes sense. But it does represent a pretty big shift for Galveston. Princess has been there for, what, 20 years?
Yeah, a long time. The Regal Princess will still operate from Galveston through March 15th, 2026. But after that, Princess confirms, yeah, no ship homeported there during that winter 2026-2027 season. It's definitely a notable change for the port. But the sources also provide some context indicating that other cruise lines, Carnival, Royal Caribbean, and CL, MSC, they're expected to continue or even expand their presence in Galveston. So they'll likely help fill that gap. MSC, for instance, is even opening a new terminal there soon.
Okay, so the port itself will likely remain busy. And the material does say that the guests affected by those Galveston cancellations, they received full refunds and were offered alternatives, like other available Princess sailings from Galveston through early 26, or maybe Caribbean trips from places like Fort Lauderdale.
Right. It really just underscores how dynamic this industry is. Even long-standing relationships with home ports can shift based on these bigger global strategic decisions and, optimizing assets.
Definitely. Speaking of Princess's broader strategy, while this 2026-27 Majestic Princess news is the big headline right now, the sources also touch on some of Princess's other unique offerings already lined up for 2025, the more immediate future, which kind of gives us that wider picture of their focus.
Yeah, it highlights their commitment to diverse destinations and these immersive travel experiences across their whole fleet. For 2025, for instance, they've announced an expanded Alaska season. They're putting 8 ships up there.
8 ships. That's a lot.
It is, from 5 different home ports. And they're not just doing the same old routes. They're introducing new Ultimate Alaska sailings, visiting less common ports, offering more glacier viewing days. Plus, they have this massive program of cruise tours.
Oh, yeah. The land and sea combos.
Exactly. 27 different options, combining the cruise with multi-nightland tours, using their own wilderness lodges, their own rail service. They even have a new national parks cruise tour. It really leverages their, 55 years of experience up there.
Yeah, they really own Alaska in many ways.
They do. They're also making a strong return to Asia and Japan with the Diamond Princess, a ship that was actually voted best cruise line in Asia, I think, by Porthole magazine.
Interesting.
These itineraries really focus on cultural immersion, and the ship has a truly unique feature on board, the Izumi Japanese bath. It's described as the largest at sea.
Wow, that sounds incredible, and perfectly suited for that region, too. What about Down Under?
Yep. Looking south, they have significant offerings in Australia, New Zealand, and the South Pacific for 2025-2026, including cruise tours again that can take you to places like the Great Barrier Reef and Uluru, those UNESCO sites.
Amazing destinations.
And their Caribbean presence is expanding, too. 11 ships planned for the 2025-2026 season. This includes the North American debut of the brand new Star Princess.
The new Sphere-class ship.
Exactly, part of that innovative Sphere class with some potentially exciting new amenities. And, of course, access to their private beach spot, Princess Cays.
A new ship debut is always big news. And for the real long haulers, the truly epic travelers, the sources mention the 2025 World Cruise on the Island Princess. A massive 116-day journey.
Yeah, hitting over 40 destinations across multiple continents, that's definitely a bucket list kind of voyage.
For sure.
And across all these different 2025 offerings, Princess seems to be enhancing its value proposition, too. The Enhanced Princess Premier Package that goes into effect August 31st, 2025, it's highlighted as offering unmatched value.
What does that include in?
Well, for a set daily price per person, it includes unlimited specialty dining.
Unlimited, wow.
Yeah, unlimited beverages up to $20 each, which is quite generous. And unlimited Medallion at Max Wi-Fi, the Starlink-powered one. Plus other perks like the Ocean Now delivery service. It seems designed for travelers who want that comprehensive, almost all-inclusive feel without constantly worrying about extra costs.
That adds a lot of convenience and perceived luxury, doesn't it?
It really does. Adds flexibility. We also see mentions of specific specialty events and themed cruises in 2025. Things like Tai Chi at sea or culinary immersion events with guest chefs.
Nice niche offerings. And we shouldn't forget their strong presence on the west coast of the USA in 2025. Over 75 voyages, I think. From LA, San Francisco, Seattle, heading to Hawaii, Mexico, the California coast.
Right. And fun fact, the Majestic Princess herself is actually doing some of those West Coast routes in 2025.
Before the big move south.
Exactly. Before making that big shift down to South America and Antarctica in 2026, shows the ship's versatility. And that consistent Medallion class service, that applies across all these 2025 sailings too, keeping that personalized experience.
Okay, so bringing it all together then, what's the main takeaway from this whole stack of sources? What's the big picture?
Well, if you connect all the dots, it really tells us that Princess Cruises is strategically evolving. They're making some bold moves, repositioning key assets like the Majestic Princess to launch these really exciting long-haul immersive voyages. Destinations like Antarctica and South America, they're clearly aiming for that segment interested in sort of luxury adventure.
Right.
But at the same time, their wide range of enhanced 2025 offerings, from the expanded Alaska cruise tours to new ships and these value packages, it shows a continued commitment to providing diverse, quality experiences across the globe, leveraging their strengths, aiming for deeper traveler engagement beyond just the standard routes.
Yeah, it really seems to position them for travelers who are looking for that blend adventure, nature, culture, but still want the comfort and the amenities you get on a larger premium cruise ship.
Exactly. It opens up some truly unique opportunities to visit places that, frankly, many people only dream of, but explored with a level of service and convenience that maybe differentiates it from pure, hardcore expedition cruising.
Absolutely. So reflecting on this big strategic shift and these incredible destinations now on offer, it really makes you think about the complex decisions happening behind the scenes in the cruise world, doesn't it? Like, consider how a major cruise line has to balance the business needs, optimizing a huge, expensive asset like the Majestic Princess with the very real logistical and environmental challenges of operating in remote, sensitive regions like Antarctica.
It's a huge undertaking.
Yeah. What does this strategic decision tell us about where traveler demand might be heading? And how does a ship that was originally designed, perhaps, for more mass market cruising need to adapt both physically and operationally to handle the raw beauty and the specific requirements of polar exploration? It makes you appreciate the incredible level of planning and adaptation that must go into making these kinds of amazing voyages actually possible.